Today's lesson's on the feminist perspective on education. So we're going to look at what do they believe and what are the problems with the feminist perspective. Have a look at the graph. What trend can you spot about achievement between boys and girls? So this chart is about the percentage of pupils achieving Key Stage 4 indicators by gender. So all the indicators are at the bottom. So the first one says how many students got 5 or more A star to C GCSEs or equivalent. The second one, A star to C GCSEs or equivalent, including E and M, which stands for English and Maths. EBAC, don't worry about that. That's something called the English Baccalaureate. We're not interested in that. We're just interested in the first two. So it says the percentage of pupils achieving. The blue bar is the boys and the red bar is the girls. So you can see from the first measurement of how many A star to C GCSEs or equivalent, 5 or more, 59.9% of boys achieved that measure and 71.4% of girls achieved that measure. And you can see even in all the other measurements along the bottom, girls outperform boys at Key Stage 4. So what do feminists believe? So feminists believe that although girls are doing overall better than boys in education, inequality still exists in the education system that negatively affects girls. This then affects their chances when they leave school and when they go to work. So what inequalities can you think of from your own experience of school? So we're going to look at 2 here that feminists discuss. The first one is uniform. So feminists think that girls are disadvantaged by uniforms because often at school, girls are expected to wear either dresses or skirts. In some schools like ours, it's compulsory. You're not allowed to wear trousers. In other schools, there is more choice. But feminists are saying that girls are disadvantaged by this because it limits the amount of exercise girls do. Studies show that girls, if they have to wear skirts or dresses to school, are less likely to take part in physical activity at lunch and break time. They're less likely to take part in sports, and things like, using climbing equipment because they're worried about, being modest. Skirts also, they argue, lead to discipline issues because some girls fight back against their parents because they don't want to wear them, don't want to go to school because they don't want to wear a skirt. Also, discipline issues, particularly at secondary school, around rolling of skirts and length of skirts. And that can lead to them being disciplined and their bodies being policed. And then issues around self-consciousness, girls feeling self-conscious about the way they look, their legs, etc. And that can affect their self-esteem and their confidence. The second thing that feminists talk about is gendered subject choices. So they believe that girls are encouraged to do subjects that are seen as feminine. And this can lead to lower paid jobs. So if you think about subjects like health and social care, dance, drama, they tend to be more dominated by girls compared to boys, whereas subjects like triple science, computing, technology, they tend to be more dominated by boys rather than girls. And those kinds of those kinds of subjects do tend to lead to higher paid jobs. So don't just think about our school, because you might be thinking, well, in our school, lots of girls do triple science. And yes, that's true. But nationally, the picture is that girls tend not to pick chemistry and physics, tend not to pick computing, and boys tend not to pick health and social care or dance or drama. And these splits at GCSE and A-level lead to differences in earning potential later on in life. But obviously, as we saw from the starter, girls get better results than boys overall. So why are feminists really that bothered about inequality in education? Why do they care that girls perhaps get a bit disadvantaged by their uniforms and by their subject choices? Well, they're bothered because of what happens after school. So more than 3 out of 4 UK companies pay their male staff more than their female staff. And in 9 out of 17 sectors in the economy, men earn 10% or more on average than women. So that's a quote from the Financial Times. So why do you think this is the case? Why is it that men are earning more than women? Is it partly due to the education system being unfair, or is it because of wider society preventing women from earning as much as men? So things like sexism in wider society. So I'm going to give you some sources. There's 4 sources on the next slide. All you need to do is read them, identify the reason it gives for inequality, and the explanation as to why it leads to a pay gap. So here are the 4 sources. I'd like you to fill out this chart. So I've done the first one for you. So the first one is related to source 1. The Fawcett Society cites a divide in labour market as one reason, as women are still likely to work in lower paid and lower skilled jobs. In skilled trade occupations, the gap is at 20.3% compared to 8.3% in sales and customer service occupations. Therefore, women are choosing sectors where the pay is worse, such as in education and social care. So I filled out the first row based on what I've just read. So source 1 shows that women are more likely to work in sectors like education and social care. So this leads to a gender pay gap because these sectors are typically lower paid, meaning that men are more likely to earn more money than women. And I've done the challenge there. So schools are actually encouraging girls to pick more STEM subjects like science, technology, engineering, computing, maths. And that's leading to more girls working in higher paid careers when they're older. So actually that is changing over time. So if you could fill out the other 3 sources, that would be great. So some problems with the feminist perspective on education. Firstly, we can say it's too negative. Girls are outperforming boys in education, and this shows that perhaps it's not really an unfair system for girls. And actually, there are lots of ways that school can negatively affect boys too. And also we can say it's too broad. It focuses too much on gender in society, sort of generally, but not education specifically. Lots of their ideas are about the gender pay gap later on in life, and they blame education for this, but actually there's probably things in wider society that explain that too, rather than just education. So here's a knowledge check. If you could please fill out that table that I mentioned before, and then answer these 5 questions and send your work to your teacher by Friday. There is an extension task here if you want to do it. It's about another reason why some people think that girls end up in lower paid occupations, and they think it's partly because girls lack ambition for good jobs. So you might want to have a little listen of that clip. It's like a radio clip. Listen to that and maybe use those questions to guide you. It's not compulsory, but it's there if you're interested, or if that reason has sparked any sort of ideas from you. That's all I need you to do. So the knowledge check and the table by Friday. Any questions then, please just email me and I'll help you out. Take care. Bye.